Hey, happy Sunday. It is 11:30 p.m. So this is kind of the 11th hour, almost. It'd be funny if it was 11 p.m. It would literally be the 11th hour that I'm filming and uploading this video. So thank you for your patience if you've been waiting. I'm committed to staying on track with my Sunday videos here. I will tell you right from the get-go that I feel really exhausted right now. It's been a long day. I've been up since like 7:30 a.m., which is unusual for me. I have a tendency to wake up later in the day, but lately my schedule has been all over the place. And I'll also tell you that that's something I'm trying to work on, but I'm not super committed to yet, is my sleep schedule. It's just all over the place in terms of timing and how many hours I get and all these other factors. So I apologize if my energy is a little low. Hopefully through talking it'll ramp up. But, you know, my purpose with this channel is to be authentic and to share what's going on with me. And hopefully this applies to you and you can relate to it. I think one thing that I'm really trying to work on as an entrepreneur is to push through discomfort in order to get things done. I've been trying for weeks to get on track with this content calendar that I had laid out, and I was so determined, and I wanted to start this up on Monday, like 2 or 3 Mondays ago. And that Monday came around and I was exhausted, and I thought, oh, I'm too tired. I'm not gonna be able to do this right. I'll just wait till tomorrow. Then Tuesday came around, same thing. And then it was Wednesday, and I thought, well, I can't really start now because my whole content calendar is based on starting on Monday, so I guess I'll just start the next Monday. And this has been going on for weeks and weeks. Tomorrow's a brand new day. It's just really tough for me to push through when I'm exhausted. I have this fear of not getting things right. But you know, this is a good topic, and maybe this is meant to be the topic for this video. I started going to church recently, and I'm certainly not gonna, I don't plan on making this video about my church experience. I would love to take your temperature on that and hear if you want to hear about that, or if that's a part of my life you're not very interested in. I wouldn't be surprised if you guys are kind of split on that. I know there are a number of you who go to church, and I assume there's a number of you that don't go to church and don't practice any religion and all of that. So I certainly don't want to polarize anybody, but it's becoming a bigger part of my life, and it's exciting. I've never been a big church goer, but I was raised with Christian family influences. We just didn't go to church, and I always associated church with like a specific experience, like kind of this like uptight, traditional, pure, sterile, or for lack of a better word, like just unpleasant experience. And I got introduced to this church that has branches all over the country and actually the world. It's originated in Australia, and it completely changed my experience about church. So I will say that oftentimes it's really helpful to not judge things in life based on one experience, a handful of experiences, to always stay open-minded. You might think for the time, make a decision for the time being that, you know, this is your thought, this is your belief, this is the way that you're living. But I think with church especially, it's reminded me that it's so important to have an open mind. So I had an open mind enough to go to church, and I really liked the experience, so I went a second time. And then that experience is even better than the first. So I've just been going every Sunday. And today I actually went to 2 church services, and it was awesome. And I bring that up not just to take your temperature. Like, I would love to know in the comments if you want to hear more about my church experience. And if not, I'll probably do a video about it anyways. So I'm just giving you a heads up that you might want to skip over that one if it's not something that you want to hear about. But you may also want to have an open mind, because you guys know me. So if you like my content, if you like me, know that you're going to hear it through my lens and my specific experience. And, you know, I would love to share with you like this journey that I've been on. So I bring that up because during one of the sermons today, the pastor was talking about how we don't need to be perfect to do things. And it's such an kind of obvious concept, but he was just reminding us that we don't have to have everything figured out. We can bring our flaws. We don't have to like iron out all of our wrinkles. That we simply can make amazing things happen through who we are right now. And that we can also be loved by other people being who we are. And this is something I've been really working on lately, and man, can it be rough. I've said it in videos before that I have this kind of what I've considered for a while a perfectionist mentality, although I read a really good, I don't know if it was in a book or an article or something talking about how there's no such thing as a perfectionist. Who wrote that? I don't know. I'm tired, so I'm having trouble recollecting. It might have been Brene Brown or Elizabeth Gilbert or maybe one of the spiritual self-growth books. Anyways, whoever it was explaining that that's not really what's happening. It's that it takes a lot of vulnerability and courage to just show up and do things. I've also mentioned before that what gets in my way is that I know what I should be doing. I know what I can be doing. I know what might be the ideal way or the better way or like whatever, in terms of like videos and podcasts and social media and all of that. And what I'm trying to do, and it's been a big struggle for me, but it's a daily practice, is just creating something, even if it's not what I would consider ideal or optimized or perfect. This channel is a perfect example. This channel was born out of my desire to just show up and be authentic. And it is hard. Every time I record one of these videos, there's part of me like wondering what I'm doing, recording a 20 to 30 minute video with no editing and just talking with no point and, not a ton of makeup or lighting or whatever. There's so many flaws in these videos, and yet I receive some of the most amazing feedback from people. So, it comes around to just being who you are. I struggle with my body. I've struggled with my body image for as long as I can remember, since I was a preteen. And, admittedly, right now, I don't feel like I look my best. And that makes me feel incredibly vulnerable because I'm making videos. I'm at public events. I'm around a lot of people. And in my personal and professional life. And it's also hard for myself. It's like every day I've just been feeling like not so great in my skin. And that's something that I actively have to practice, because how my body looks and feels is important for sure, but it also is not directly connected to my value. And that's one of the biggest obstacles that I've had to get over in my life. And that's a huge thing that shows up in society right now. I mean, we're told left and right, especially in the US and similar countries, is that if we don't look a certain way, then there's something wrong with us, or we're not going to be desirable in some way, personally or professionally. And that has been incredibly damaging for me. That's a whole nother topic, which I'm always happy to get into. I feel like I've talked about that a fair amount, but maybe not. If you ever want to hear a new perspective on that part of my life, I'd gladly share that, because, I know that a lot of you can go through similar things. And I feel more inspired to open up about my vulnerabilities. And I have a lot around my body. And it's important to talk about it, because it really helps me work through it. And I encourage you to do the same thing. I bring that up, though, because, I could certainly not do certain things because I don't feel like my body's quite right yet. But to be honest, I don't know if I've ever felt like my body was right. Even when I was in quote unquote better shape, I still wanted to be in better shape than that, right? And so it's kind of like this always evolving thing. I don't know if there's maybe been a few times in my life where I felt like, all right, I look great right now. The funny thing is I often look back on pictures or videos of myself when I didn't feel like I looked great, and I'm like, wow, I wish I looked like that right now. So it's like hindsight's 20/20, and grass is always greener. But I bring this up in this whole context of not waiting until you look a certain way, you feel a certain way, you've accomplished enough or whatever. just being who you are right now and celebrating that and working on being confident about that, not hiding yourself because you're waiting to be better in some way or another. You're waiting to fix something because you're really holding yourself back. And I desperately need to follow this advice. And maybe that's why it's important for me to say it out loud. But it's tough. It's tough. Like, for me, tomorrow, for example, I would love to record a Facebook Live video, and I probably will do that. That's not that challenging, but my whole thing is like I want to have a layout for her, what I'm going to talk about. I want to keep it a certain length, and my ultimate vision was to turn Facebook Live videos into a podcast that I've been working on in my head for like at least 6 months, and something just always gets in my way with it. And there's all sorts of other type of content, right? And when that's something that gets in the way is feeling like I'm not going to be doing it right. So think about it. I've been in this mentality for years and years. How much have I missed out on? How much of myself have I not given simply because I was waiting for it to be right? This can apply to so much in our lives. People say this about pregnancy, having kids. It's like you just wait and wait. Oh, it's not the right time. Oh, this and that, and it's never the right time. And I think that's just such a key lesson, is that we just have to show up with who we are right now, just as I'm doing with this video. I don't understand why these videos are so easy relatively for me to do than the other things. And if I approached everything like I do with these videos, who knows where I would be? Who knows how many lives I would impact, inspire, and all of that. And the same goes for you too. I mean, there's so much of ourselves that we're holding back because we're waiting for something else to happen, or waiting for ourselves to be at a certain place. It's very rare that I meet people that just move forward and put things out no matter what. And those people I really admire, actually. I've spent a lot of time, admittedly, like pointing out things like, oh, well, this person could have been doing this better, or why aren't they doing this and that? But really, when I step back and look at the people that are bold enough to proceed despite of their quote unquote flaws, those people are amazing to me. Those people are typically the ones that are very successful. If you can show up, be yourself authentically with who you are right now, and you do that every single day, that's where like the biggest things happen. That's where the magic is. That's where the success is. And I would love for you to hold me accountable in doing that in my life. And I would love to hold you accountable for doing that in yours. Because we each have so many gifts. We each have so much potential. And it's very sad that there's so much in our society that encourages us to achieve some sort of perfection. But really, none of us are perfect, and really, none of us ever really will be. Or you can look at it as we are perfect just the way we are right now. Depends the way you want to approach this. But really, the truth is that each of us are ready right now to do the things that we really want. And it takes boldness and vulnerability to get there. I highly recommend you read Brené Brown's books, plural, around vulnerability, or look up her TED Talk. She talks about this in some beautiful ways. And I think that that's huge, is for us to keep pushing each other to be vulnerable. Because oftentimes we see things in ourselves that people will never see in us. And we'll see things in ourselves that some people see in us, like negative things, and they'll point them out. But do they really matter? Most of us are far greater and bigger and better than we've ever imagined. And if we just kind of step forward and say, I'm going to act despite of my flaws. I'm going to act despite the fact that this isn't perfect. I don't feel ready. That's probably where the beauty is. That's where the growth happens. My goal is to do that more consistently every day, honestly. So keep track. It's scary for me to commit to doing a Facebook Live video tomorrow because I feel so tired right now. But hey, just spent the past 15 minutes talking with you despite how exhausted I am. This could have easily have been a Facebook Live video. So I think I'm going to wrap it up and make this like a shorter video because I am tired. But I wanted to show up for you and be present. I have so many amazing things happening in my life that I really can't wait to share with you. I know I've kind of teased you on it. There's some, big things that just kind of waiting for a few developments before I really get into them. But it should be soon where I can like jump into it and be like, all right, this is what's been happening. The past few months have just been so magnificent and exciting and unexpected. And I'm, really, really grateful for it. You just never know what's going to be around the other corner too. Maybe I really should take my own advice and just tell you guys about things that are going on, because I just justified not telling you, because basically what I was saying was that I wasn't ready to tell you. And the whole point of this video is just to say things. All right, why not? I didn't expect to get into it. I'm not gonna focus the whole video on this, but I will tell you that I am in a new relationship with an amazing man, and I'm sure you can tell from my smile that it's been incredible. And there's so much about it that I want to share, and I wanted to share this in videos like as soon as it happened, but I kept this idea of it not feeling ready. Like I should wait because that fear of like, well, what if this doesn't work out? Well, who cares if it works? I obviously do care if it works out. And I believe that it will, but I guess, when you look back on relationships that haven't worked out and things that you've wanted that haven't turned out quite the same way, you want to protect yourself, I guess. And it can feel scary to talk about it publicly, but part of me also feels like I'm missing out on celebrating these things. So I've actually been pushing myself to be a little bit more public about it. If you follow me on Snapchat, you'll see him popping in on my snaps. So you can pay attention there to see kind of like the more inside scoop, more of an intimate view of my life. Snapchat's great for that. But I would love to do like a whole video on it, because I've learned so much through this relationship, and ultimately that's all that matters. I mean, being present to what's going on today, right? I had a great day. Like, it's long distance, sort of. Oh, it is, but it's not that far. But we don't live in the same city, and so we only see each other about once a week or so. And I spent the past couple days with him, and it was fantastic. He just left, and I feel great. But there are days where I feel really unsure. I feel doubt. I feel fear around it. I think that's what prevents me. But hey, that's true of everything, right? Like, I guess that's why the relationship is a great kind of example of, just not feeling ready in so many ways, but really like we are. And that's what I've been practicing in this relationship, is not worrying about this idea of readiness. Just enjoying it and feeling it out and learning from it day by day. And I've learned so much about myself through this, and it's just getting started. He's the reason that I'm going to church, and that's been magnificent. And I'm so grateful for that. I've met incredible people through the church as a result, and my life has shifted in some really positive directions in all sorts of ways, which I would love to share with you. So if you want me to get into the details about the church experience, about the relationship, I would love to just keep you in the loop. I think it's really important to talk about relationships more openly. I've held back a lot. A lot of things have happened in my personal life in the past 4 years, and I didn't want to share it because I didn't feel ready at the time, and I was experiencing a lot of pain and confusion, and I had no idea what was going on. So I feel kind of bad in hindsight. Like, I wish that I had looped you in more, because I feel like this is such an intimate channel here where I'm really opening up to my life. But to be honest, there's so much about my life that I haven't opened up to you about, and I feel ready to open up. So that's why I love receiving your requests for content. I did receive one today, and I was thinking about addressing that, but that'll be in another video, because I guess this naturally evolved into a topic that I want to discuss. But you know who you are, received your email, and I will get to your request soon. I love that. I love just hearing when any of you have something that you want me to talk about. I can say your name, or I can keep it entirely private. I can be general. I can be specific about whatever it is, because I've probably been there in some capacity or another. I have like a opinion or some guidance on it that I've learned along the way from other people. So, to me, I just feel like talking more openly about things like love and heartbreak, and things like religion and maybe even politics, like they can feel so touchy subjects that we don't want to address. But what if we opened up more about that? That's actually one thing I love about the church that I'm going to, is that I think the very first service I went to was there was a series of sermons about taboo topics in the church. And what was this one about? I completely forget, but was opening up about things that people don't normally talk about in places like church, or normally talk about to publicly online and all of that. And I've really had a mentality for most of my life of like, no things are off limits, but I'll dance around topics because I'm trying to be like politically correct or something, or I'm like, trying to be polite. But really what I ultimately love to do the most is just like cut to the chase and talk about the real things. And that to me is true authenticity. So yeah, I felt like there was something else I wanted to get into. There's been a lot of things happening business wise. And those I feel like need to be protected a little bit more, which is funny. Because my personal life, I often feel like it seems like you would need to protect that a little bit more than your professional life, but I don't know. Right now, I just until I have like confirmation on things, I guess it makes more sense for me professionally to wait. But there might be something developing tomorrow. I have a project that I'm supposedly doing on Wednesday. Like there's all sorts of cool things. So I will keep you in the loop on those as much as possible, especially the really exciting stuff. Now, speaking of which, my boyfriend is calling me on the phone, so I'm going to wrap this up so I can talk to him. Thank you for listening. I feel vulnerable but excited to discuss this and open up that door. So share with me your feedback on any of these topics. I so appreciate you in my life, and this channel means a lot to me. And I feel like the bigger my heart is with this, the more I open up, the more vulnerable I am, the less I focus on being ready, and the more that I just take action. That's where all the magic comes from. So stay tuned. Lots of magic coming on the way. Okay. Until next Sunday, I will see you on Snapchat, hopefully. I am working on more content for other platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, other YouTube channels and all that. So stay tuned. All the links are down below. You can sign up for the newsletter. I'm trying to get better about it. Newsletter is so hard for me, but I will get there with weekly videos. Weekly newsletters. So much to do. Thank you for your patience all around. I appreciate you. I can't wait to read your comments. I'll see you soon. Bye. I've got a phone call to make.